That was something, wasn't it? Having just witnessed what seems to be a very promising first few races of the 2025 season, I can say for sure that this year will be fun.
I have the seat full of water, like full of water.
Must be the water.
With the sudden Mercedes surcharge, immediate Hamilton performance in the Scuderia, poor f***ing Charlie, the Red Bull tirade. By the way, I gotta say, I f***ing called it, mate. Before the first Grand Prix, I said, this lad's not gonna last. And if there's anything we all need and want next year, or this year, is some more competition for Max. And if anyone has the cards to do it, on paper, it is Lawson. But knowing the history of every single driver that had partnered Max before in the Red Bull, we might as well already start planning Liam's retirement party. I see the future. I'm a fucking wizard, mate. That is just the Red Bull way, you know? Kick every new driver until one sticks. Or has a big enough sponsor to cover the potential loss in the constructors. So there's a lot of topics to cover, but first things first, the absolute dominance we've seen from McLaren so far is the headliner, for sure. It was a bit predictable, not gonna lie. In fact, they were the absolute favourites coming into the season. At least the media were as sure as riding Lando and essentially crowning him as the best thing ever produced on this side of the North Sea. It's kind of miraculous, isn't it, how much the overall sentiment of the media pen dictates how I perceive a driver. I don't know how it is for you guys, but I actually loved Lando. I really fucking liked the lad. Actually, it was a bit unhealthy, not gonna lie. But now that the whole sport has pitted him as this messiah, an unbeatable demigod who just comes to the Grand Prix like a slaughter, picking and choosing which talent to absolutely rob of their little chance of shining in the limelight. I'm starting to hate him, you know, a little bit. Well, just until he's given a mic for an interview and he starts out with his cute little giggle at the beginning. It just makes me melt, man. Anyways, but in China, things were different. The media was proven wrong and shown that there are actually two kings in the papaya orange. And McLaren, they're going to have to f***ing choose one of them. And this is why. So firstly, how the f*** have we gotten ourselves into this mess in the first place? Over the past 12 months or so, McLaren have been slowly making progress within the championship. It wasn't very steady, I've got to say. In fact, this time last year, if someone would have told me that Lando would be leading the championship next year, I would have... Okay, let's be frank here. I would have totally f***ing believed it, because I'm a deluded f***ing Norris fanboy, aren't I? But a normal human being would consider that complete and utter bullshit. Well, the magnificent part of this sport is how quickly things can change around, don't they? In fact, all it took is one of the Grand Prix to be visited by the Trumpster, and Lando all of a sudden was granted the full fucking license to kill. And kill he did. In fact, ever since Miami, you could call the McLaren run an absolute fucking slaughter the way they've dominated the field. The field. I'm so good at speaking, it's crazy. It's almost like my job. It's not. I wish. But importantly, they have now successfully secured the #1 slot as the fastest fucking moving thing on the grid. That is, you know, not counting the Ferrari pit wall's inhuman ability to consistently fuck up for no reason whatsoever. Those guys produce 3 shitty ideas every 3 milliseconds.
Stay more charge button on.
Yeah, no problem. Just don't repeat everything, please.
Understood. Can use K1 you close.
Into it, please.
K1 available.
Yes, I know. Leave me to it, please.
To avoid the denied DRS, we suggest upshift and then DRS.
Please leave it. Yes, leave it. I'm running the car as we go, mate. Just leave me to it with the DRS. It's not an issue.
Try to hold the K1. That's for practice. I know it's difficult.
I'm not close enough.
Now, typically, when a team is performing well, that is good for both drivers. And the... Fuck me, mate. Jesus Christ. How many times am I going to fuck up in this one clip? The reason being is that typically the top teams would have a clear favourite in the car. Otherwise, they just, you know, wouldn't be a top team. Lewis and Bottas, Sepp Vettel and Marky Mark, Verstappen and, well, pretty much anybody. Or anything, really. Because a monkey would be able to do a better job than Perez, and you fucking know it. What is different in this year's McLaren is the presence of 2 absolute fucking goats behind the wheel. We have Lando Norris, widely considered to be the best piece of arse on the grid this year. Largely because the grid girl's been cancelled. Who fucking came up with that idea? I don't know. And then we have the reincarnation of the Iceman himself in the other car. So, frankly, although the two boys could not be any more different, one's a fucking 14-year-old prima donna in the body of a male model, blessed with not only the cutest fucking teeth gap there's ever been, but also clearly dosed in pure talent and money ever since he was born. And the other one is, well, he's just Piastri, innit? He's just a solid fucking lad. So that both of them are absolute weapons behind the wheel. By the way, while conducting some important research for this clip, I realized talent isn't the only thing these boys are hiding under their overalls. I've got a fucking dump truck parked under there, I swear. Jesus, making me question my religious beliefs. Now, why is this a problem? Instead of one good driver and then a mediocre, overpriced mechanic, McLaren genuinely have 2 solid drivers this year in that fucking rocket ship of a car. Sounds like a fairy tale, innit? Well, if we know anything about fairy tales, it's that there's a fucking big bad wolf and he ends up eating Red Riding Hood, the grandma, the family, the cameraman, and all of a sudden we've got a full-on fucking serial drama on our hands. And F1, I think it is very much the same thing. If we have any reference points for this, it's always fucking horrific. We've got the Red Bulls of Max and Ricciardo. Okay, seemingly the only lad that's been able to tame the Dutchman, one way or another. Lewis and Rosberg, that was a fucking disaster on many occasions. Yes, they ended up winning almost every Grand Prix, but there's a bit of a difference between a primetime Mercedes with Rossi at the wheel and a 2025 McLaren huffing and puffing to get on pole. Times have changed and the gap is much lower at the front of the pack. So any mishaps between the lads, and the position's lost. And we've already seen it, like, sort of manifesting itself. Essentially with Piastri running at the front of the pack and while pitting, not allowing Lando to come in. Ending up with lanky lamppost Russell undercutting Norris. Not because there was any sort of miscalculation, but just purely because the 2 McLarens were running way too close. So, yeah. I can bet me left nut that by race 15 we'll have had a few big scandals on our hands if the 2 Clementines maintain their current pace. That is also if Lando doesn't absolutely f***ing bin it early on, lose the lead, become ever more scared of the car, bin it some more, clearly start underperforming, and getting even more scared of the sudden potential driver swap chance in the media, leading to him just submitting to the Australian and taking on the role of a pre-retirement Bottas. You know, divorced, schizo, blonde mullet, the whole fucking shebang. Now the big question, what happens next? What can be done to avoid this? Well, the answer is quite clear. If you want to avoid this, if you want to just purely avoid it, McLaren will have to eventually make a choice. Who will be the champion of 2025? Will it finally be the year in which a guy that we all still perceive as a rookie, even though he's been in the sport for fucking 5 years, take the World Cup home? Or does Piastri put on his big boy pants and actually might let out a light joyful gasp in Abu Dhabi when he raises that championship trophy? Or will it be yet another fucking year of the Dutch Beaver? I guess we'll find out. But to me, I think this is a question of when, not if, McLaren will have to decide. So, if you have a particular opinion in the matter, please send a letter to the McLaren Technology Centre in Woking, Surrey, addressed to His Lordship, Zachary the Brown. Because I f***ing have. Zach, please don't f*** this one up.